Welcome back to another Battlefront update. Initially delayed, the Count Dooku in January update community transmission was released today with great anticipation, as not only is this the first update to come for Battlefront 2 for 2019, but also is supposed to be setting the standard for the live service going forward for the year. Now with that said, I want to make it clear at the beginning of this video here that this community transmission comes with both good and bad news. And it's gotta be said that will certainly disappoint a decent number of players. But we'll get into all of that later on in the video. But first, let's focus on the main highlight of the January update, which is Darth Tyranus, aka Count Dooku.
I've been looking forward to this.
A master duelist, Count Dooku excels at close combat with a lightsaber and can deflect lightsabers easier than any other lightsaber hero. While his skills of a lightsaber are to be feared, opponents will also be wise to avoid his lightning stun ability. Calculating and confident, players should approach Count Dooku with great caution. As the norm now, the Count will be available to unlock via credits only costing 35,000. In addition, he also has a health of 750. As for his abilities, they are Lightning Stun, Expose Weakness, Duelist, and Dodge. As mentioned before, Lightning Stun will be his most deadliest ability, as Dooku unleashes a very quick lightning stun that throws all nearby opponents to the ground. The damage is reduced for each extra target, and can hit up to a maximum of 5 targets. The Expose Weakness ability targets a single opponent and causes them to become affected by a number of detrimental effects. Anyone targeted by Expose Weakness will have their movement slowed down, while receive increased damage from all attacks, and will become highlighted for Dooku throughout the duration of this ability. Should the target be defeated by one of Dooku's attacks while Expose Weakness is active, the cooldown is instantly refreshed. For the Duelist ability, Dooku begins by raising his lightsaber up to his face and then down to his side, readying himself for combat. Once active, Duelist will improve his lightsaber attack speed and damage for a short time. While active, Dooku will change his attack sequence, now dueling with one hand behind his back, and this being a great nod to his Clone Wars fighting style. As for his dodge, it'll have a shorter cooldown than other heroes and with more charges available to it, making Dooku a challenging foe to go up against in close quarters combat. Regarding his star cards, there doesn't seem to be anything out of the ordinary here. Standard stuff, you've got your buff cards, your health cards, and your ability focus cards. You know the drill, moving on. For Dooku's emotes, we certainly have some fan favorite lines that made the cut. These being, brave but foolish, I've been looking forward to this, I've become more powerful than any Jedi, and the Sith control everything. Although I am surprised that twice the pride and double the fall somehow didn't get included. No idea how DICE were able to overlook this, but okay. Meanwhile, the rest of his voice lines are choice picks from the Clone Wars series and should be great to hear when playing as or against Dooku. I especially am looking forward to hearing Dooku's interaction comments when fighting against other light side heroes like Luke or Rey. And as a matter of fact, DICE did drop a quick nice soundbite involving Dooku and Anakin that will of course be included in the update.
Finally decided to crawl out from whichever bounty hunter you've been hiding behind.
Pawns in a game you have yet to start playing.
All in all, Dooku sounds like he'll be a fun and interesting hero, and his abilities reflect his sophisticated character well. Although it's clear that Dooku's melee attacks are highly lethal, and this is where he'll be shining the most, especially considering how he's able to deflect opposing lightsabers so well, being the best in the game in that area. Moving on in the list, we've got the next big thing other than Dooku arriving in the January update. And that's of course the addition of Geonosis to Arcade, Heroes vs Villains, and Blast. Seeing as I already covered this news and gave my thoughts on it in a previous video, then I'll just move past this part of the transmission, and we'll go straight to the patch notes. And whoa, is there a lot to cover here. First are the hero and class changes, where several issues of abilities not always registering due to the map geometry factors has been fixed. This mainly relates to the Force heroes, such as Darth Vader, Darth Maul, Luke Skywalker, Rey, Yoda, and Kylo Ren. Although Iden Versio's stun droid as well as Palpatine's Electrocute have also been improved. Next on the list are the fixes specific per hero, which should definitely interest players whom of course generally prefer to main a certain hero or two. We're gonna quickly go over the main fixes per hero just for ease. Starting with Obi-Wan Kenobi, the issue where Palpatine's chain lightning could damage Obi-Wan even when blocked has been fixed. For Darth Maul, whenever having used this choke ability, it would occasionally throw opponents in the opposite direction, and that's also been fixed. For Leia, her Laser Brain Epic Star card would sometimes cause the alternative fire damage of her to vary when equipped. So this has now been fixed, and the alternative fire damage when Laser Brain is equipped is now consistently 190. For Captain Phasma, an issue was fixed when she was not always able to take reduced damage when using her Survivor ability, while the Not Hard Enough Star card was equipped. General Grievous will see his Thrust Surge ability fixed, where he would occasionally still be able to use it even on a speeder without animation or an ability cooldown. Boba Fett's for the Hunt endgame UI before it was being triggered in the last spot where he activated it, rather than his actual spot, so that's now been taken care of. For Chewbacca, the issue has also been fixed where he's been able to use his Slam ability twice, after pressing the ability button at the end of the ability animation. The same thing happened when players are able to use Han Solo's Shoulder Charge ability twice, when pressing the button on the ability animation. Darth Vader will also get a bug fix where he was able to jump twice if the Focused Rage ability was used mid-air. And finally, Kylo Ren's Frenzy ability will now find targets better and successfully by doing multiple hits if only one target is available. If there's more than one target, Kylo Ren will jump between them. The rest are mainly general bug fixes for vehicles along with map and mode changes. I'll leave a link to the full community transmission below the video description so you can check out the full patch notes for yourself. But a lot of them are minor quality of life changes that should help provide a smoother gaming experience overall. Alright, now that we've covered Dooku in the full January update patch note list, it's time to talk about the bad news that came with the community transmission. I mentioned this earlier in the video, but I wanted to wait later to talk about it, as to not detract from the actual good work that DICE put into this update. Unfortunately, the not so good things are actually the lack of content that we'll be getting in January. First up is the Coruscant Guard Clone Legion appearance, which has been pushed back to February, to fall in line with the appearance rework for the other incorrect clone appearances. According to the community manager Ben Wok, the whole thing has evolved into something more, and DICE want to now release all the clone appearances in one go. We don't really know what Wok means by this, but we can only assume that DICE are working on a larger customization rework in regards to the clone appearances, including of course adding armored clone officers. So I can only imagine that they saw pushing back the Coruscant Guard as a necessary move to fit this all in one package. Now, whether or not that's a good decision, that's a totally different conversation. Of course, we would have preferred to get the Coruscant Guards now rather than later. As from what I remember when they were data mined, they seem to fall in line pretty much correct of how the Coruscant Guards looked like in canon. So they really shouldn't be getting any rework done to them, unlike the other clone skins that needed to be corrected because they were not correct to canon. But yeah, DICE aren't really providing that much specifics into this subject, so we can only really speculate on what's really going on behind the scenes. Next, remember when Count Dooku was supposed to come out with his Dark Ritual appearance that I reported a few videos ago? Well, that's not really happening anymore, as that's also been pushed back until the next hotfix, which means that DICE must not have completely finished it in time for release. But the good news here is that it'll still come out this month on January 30th. It'll be classed as an epic and be available for 40,000 credits. In addition to this, we're also expected to get a third Dooku appearance sometime afterwards as well. No details on what this will be or when we'll be getting it, other than we know that it's supposedly coming. My guess that this skin could be the capeless Dooku that we sometimes see in the Clone Wars. I mean, it'll be a fairly easy appearance for DICE to add, and I really can't think of any other possible appearances that Dooku could get other than this. Because yeah, he never was really known for changing outfits that much throughout the series. And besides, removing a cape for Dooku would be one of the easiest skins that DICE could possibly ever do. And going back on the topic of things not being done on time, believe it or not, but DICE released the Count Dooku community transmission without a single picture of Dooku. This is the first time I can ever remember DICE doing anything like this, and it honestly doesn't bode well. Not only that, but their planned community update video to go along with the screenshot also was unable to be produced. meaning that either Dennis Brandval couldn't do the voiceover, they couldn't get the in-game footage, or their editor couldn't edit the video for whatever reason. No matter what the excuse, DICE just weren't able to complete these things in time for Tuesday. So we won't be able to see how Dooku looks like in-game until Wednesday, and by then he's already going to be in the game so we can all just see for ourselves. We don't need a video or a screenshot from DICE. Personally, I could care less about the community update video, as that's mainly just them repeating the same information from the transmission, and it doesn't really provide anything new. Again, I have no idea why DICE couldn't get this stuff finished in time, especially when they had all of December and half of January to take a screenshot and make a simple video. You can say that maybe this could be a sign that DICE are understaffed once again, but yeah, things like this shouldn't be happening, and it's a rather unprofessional move by DICE. Regardless, in the grand scheme of things, these are small issues, and as long as we're getting Dooku along with the Geonosis game mode updates on time, then I'm not too bothered by this. As I know we're in store for a ton of content next month, and as long as none of that gets delayed, then I'm fine with whatever we're getting for the time being. Of course, everyone has a different opinion on the matter, so let me know in the comments down below on whether you're fine with DICE delaying things, if it means we get everything in one big package next month. But that'll do it for this Battlefront update. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, and subscribe to the channel to not only support it, but keep up with Star Wars news, gaming, and canon lore released every week. And consider following me on Twitter and Facebook to never miss out on the latest Star Wars related content. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.